Alright team, let's talk about deception. If you've been on shift for even a few weeks, you already know people lie to security guards all the time. Sometimes it's small, I just need to duck in quickly, or I've actually got my pass, I just left it in the car. And sometimes it's a bit more serious. Someone trying to sneak into a restricted area, cover up theft, or hide drugs or alcohol. Your job isn't to get angry at that. Your job is to spot it, manage it, and keep control of the situation without letting it escalate. Now, I know the old cliche. If someone won't look you in the eye, they're lying. Just forget it, that's rookie stuff. Some of the most confident liars you'll ever meet will look you straight in the eye smiling because they know that you expect honesty to look like eye contact. And plenty of honest people, especially when nervous, will look away, fiddle with their hands or stumble over words simply because they're being stopped by security and it's intimidating. So if you're going to rely on eyes alone, you're going to get it wrong. And in this job, getting it wrong can mean embarrassing yourself, hassling someone innocent, or worse, letting a real threat slide by. So here's the reality. Spotting deception isn't about a single sign. It's about like clusters of behavior, right? So it's compared against a baseline. That's the phrase I want you to remember. Clusters, not single tells. Step one, just make sure you establish the baseline. This is critical. Whenever you talk to someone on duty, even for a short exchange, take in their natural behavior. How do they sound when answering simple questions? Do they use lots of hand gestures? Do they pause to think before they answer, or do they speak quickly? Now that's your baseline. You can't detect a change if you don't know they're normal. And here's the trick. You don't need 10 minutes of conversation to find a baseline. You can actually often establish it in just a couple of casual questions. How's your night going? Or where are you heading? Watch how they respond when there's no pressure. Now, once you've got that baseline, you're looking for deviations, right? So one big giveaway, the voice. Maybe their pitch goes higher, maybe their pace suddenly speeds up or slows down. Maybe they add extra detail that feels unnecessary, over-explaining to sound convincing. Or they repeat your questions back to you, stalling for time. For example, you ask, do you have authorization to be in this area? And instead of a direct yes or no, they say, do I have authorization? Yeah, of course I do. That repeat buys them a second to think. Then there's body language. And I'll say this again, it's not about one single movement, it's about timing and context. People often touch their faces all the time. People cross their arms all the time. Those things are gonna mean nothing on their own. But if someone answers 10 relaxed questions without a single twitch, and then scratches their neck, looks away, and folds their arms the moment you ask about a stolen item, that timing is significant. Now, the body's often gonna betray what the mouth is trying to hide. Another big area is also inconsistencies, right? So as guards, you've got to have a big advantage here because you often get the chance to ask the same things twice. Maybe you're doing bag checks, right? So maybe you're monitoring an entrance, maybe you're writing down details for an incident report. If the story shifts even slightly, the time changes, the sequences change, a new detail pops up that wasn't there before, that's where deception often shows, right? So the truth is easy to repeat. Lies take effort to maintain. And here's the trick. Throw in a really unexpected question. Most lies are going to rehearse the basics, where they were, who they were with, what they were doing. They don't usually prepare for the little details, right? So if you throw in something simple but unexpected, what color was the wristband? Or which way did you come in? Or what was the weather like when you left? If they really experienced it, the answer's gonna come naturally. If they didn't, you often get hesitation, stalling, or an overcompensated answer. Now let's go through some real world scenarios. At a nightclub this one time, I had this guy trying to sneak into the staff only door. When I stopped him, he gave me the confident smile. He looked me dead in the eyes and he said, yeah, I'm with a DJ. Smooth, no nerves. It looked convincing. But when I asked for his pass, his hand went to the wrong pocket first, then he hesitated. That tiny pause told me more than his words did. He was bluffing and sure enough, he didn't belong there. Another time when I was doing bag checks at an event, the patron denied having alcohol. The denial was really quick. Almost too quick, but their voice cracked slightly on the word no, and they suddenly pulled the bag tighter against their body. These signs together, the crack in the voice, the defensive gesture, the timing, that told me that I needed to look closer. Sure enough, there it is. Or take car park patrols. You might ask someone what they're doing hanging out at a car park, hanging out around a vehicle. They say, just waiting for a mate. Harmless enough. But you check in again 5 minutes later, and suddenly their mate has a different name. Or, they were supposedly waiting in a different spot. These inconsistencies stack up, and they're often the giveaway. And remember, we're not in the business of jumping to conclusions. Nervous behavior doesn't actually equal guilt, but when you see clusters of behavior that don't fit the baseline, at the exact moment a sensitive question is asked, that's when you're gonna pay attention. Let me throw in another layer. Cultural differences. In some cultures, avoiding eye contact with authority is a sign of respect, right? In others, direct eye contact is expected. If you apply your own cultural standards to everyone, you'll misread situations, and that's why baselines are so important, right? You have to compare a person against themselves, not against you. Now let's talk about why this matters for us as guards, right? Because if you misjudge someone, you're going to lose credibility, hassle an innocent person, and the public's going to lose trust and security. You might miss a genuine threat, and you fail to protect people or property. Neither's acceptable. Spot and deception is about improving your judgment, right? So you make safer, smarter calls on the job. It also makes you a much better witness. So imagine giving a statement and saying, "He looks suspicious." That's not going to hold up. But if you can say, "He avoided the questions, hesitated before answering, gave a different detail the second time, his voice cracked on the denial," that's strong, that's concrete. That's the kind of observation police and courts rely on. So let's just recap these golden rules, right? Establish a baseline. Look for deviations. Watch for clusters of behaviours, not single signs. Pay attention to inconsistencies. Use unexpected questions. Always consider cultural differences. And most importantly, just stay calm, professional, and respectful. Now, here's a little bit of advice for sharpening the skill. Practice every shift. Don't wait for a big incident. Every time you scan tickets, you do a bag check or chat with patrons, observe, listen to tone, watch the timing of gestures, notice inconsistencies in their answers, and you can practice off-duty too. Notice when a friend says they're fine, but their shoulders slump. When someone's story changes slightly the second time you've told her. You're not accusing anyone, you're just training your observation. That training pays off on the job. Because look, deception isn't loud or obvious. It's not like cartoon villains, like twirling mustaches. It's small cracks, right? So subtle mismatches, fleeting movements. And if you train yourself to spot these movements, beyond just lying eyes, you'll be ahead of the game. So look, next time you're in a uniform, standing at a door, patrolling a site, or monitoring a crowd, remember, just don't watch just their eyes, right? Watch the whole person. Voice, timing, gestures, story, consistency, and context. That's how you spot deception as a professional security guard. That's how you're gonna stay one step ahead.